We're going to go back to Capitol Hill, where calls for new blood in Democratic leadership were answered this morning when New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries was elected to lead Democrats in the 118th Congress beginning in January. Jeffries will succeed Nancy Pelosi and become the first black party leader in either party in Congress. Now, the new guard also includes Congresswoman Katherine Clark of Massachusetts and Pete Aguilar of California. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Khanna of California, himself a member of the Progressive Caucus. So, Congressman, you've said this new trio has spent years building trust. Talk about what the new big three will bring to the table as Democrats turn the page here.
Well, Garrett, I'm excited. They have the trust of many people in the caucus. They're consensus builders. They're bringing a new generation of perspective and are going to elevate a lot of new voices in the caucus. So there's a sense of unity in the caucus, a sense of excitement, and, of course, a historic moment with Hakeem Jeffries becoming the first black leader of the Democratic Party in the House.
Now, these three were all elected by acclamation, but we understand there's a little bit of drama in that number 4 slot where Whip Clyburn was going to run. He thought perhaps unopposed. Now David Cicilline is apparently challenging him. What do you make of that challenge? Should you see more new blood with Cicilline there, or should Clyburn stay in the kind of core leadership team?
I'm a strong supporter of Jim Clyburn. He is a conscience of the Congress. I mean, here's someone who has gone to jail for civil rights. He has an extraordinary relationship with President Biden, and he helps House Democrats navigate that. He's been a strong voice on voting rights. I expect him to win, and he certainly will have my strong support.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, we talked in a previous segment about the sort of connection with Biden is one thing that, Leader Jeffries is probably going to have to work on here as the new leader. He's also talked about the prospect of working with Republicans whenever possible. But now you've got Kevin McCarthy already dangling impeachments before even locking in the votes to be Speaker. What does that tell you about the relationships across the aisle in this next Congress?
Well, it would be a terrible mistake for the Republicans to do that. They should look at how impeachment turned out when they tried it against President Clinton. President Clinton's numbers went up. What the American people want is for us to address gas prices, food prices, the slowing down of the economy to bring back manufacturing jobs. And we stand ready to work with Republicans. I worked with Republicans on the CHIPS Act to bring Intel to Ohio. And it's really their choice. Do they want to partner with us on serious issues of the economy, or do they just want to have 2 years of investigations? I'll tell you, the politically smart thing for them would be to work on issues that they campaigned on, which was the economy.
I want to show this sort of family photo from yesterday's meeting here at the White House of the new leadership sort of getting together for the first time. Kevin McCarthy, getting a sense of the room here and the big job that he's going to be stepping into. He's talked about inviting President Biden to the border with him. Do you think the president should go on that trip as a way to maybe work on something across the aisle with the new incoming, perhaps, Speaker?
Well, the President of the United States can determine for himself when it's appropriate for him to go to the border, and I think it should be the President convening a bipartisan group. But look, the reality is Speaker McCarthy took just a group of Republicans to the border. Geraldo Rivera said if he was serious, he would have taken a bipartisan group. I stand ready to work with whoever the new Speaker is on a bipartisan basis if it's in good faith. But no one is going to participate in exercises that are just to score political points.
We'll strike from the record you giving him the Speaker's title already there, Congressman, which he has to still get on the floor here coming up. The House is voting today on this rail workers deal, including on a paid sick leave provision that wasn't originally part of the tentative deal. Speaker Pelosi slammed the railroad company's profits earlier on the floor. I want to play a bit of that for you now.
Rather than reinvesting their profits into the workers, over the past decade, they've given $150 billion in handouts to their corporate executives and wealthiest investors. What we need is paid sick leave for railroad workers and for every American.
Now, I imagine you share a good bit of that concern. Obviously, the House is going to vote on that separately. Talk to me about your concerns about that provision in the Senate. Obviously, Bernie Sanders, with whom you're close, is going to try to fight for that amendment on the Senate side here. But what are you watching as that provision moves forward today?
Well, Garrett, Bernie Sanders deserves enormous credit. They were going to first have us pass a agreement, the railroad agreement, which would have only given workers one sick day. I mean, imagine that. You're going to a job, you're sick, you have the flu, your child is sick, and you have to get only one day off? I mean, that's inhumane. And all the workers are asking for is 7, 8 days of sick pay. Almost any job should have that in America. Bernie Sanders insisted on that. Some of us in the House said we were not going to vote for something without sick days. Now we have I fully expect the House to pass something with 7 paid sick days. And the remarkable thing, and I give credit to Senator Rubio and some of the Republicans who are, it looks like, willing to vote for Bernie Sanders' sick day provision. That would be remarkable if we can get that vote in the Senate, and I'm cautiously optimistic.
Right, if the COVID protocols are that you should stay home even with a mild case of COVID for 5 days and you only get 1 day off with paid leave, that math just doesn't work there. Congressman, do you take the senators on the Republican side like Rubio or Hawley or maybe even Ted Cruz at their word that they're kind of serious about this issue of paid sick leave? They weren't particularly interested in it when that was a provision that was being discussed as part of the reconciliation package last year.
You know, I certainly take actually Senator Rubio at his word. We have our disagreements, but Senator Rubio and I have been working together on a bill to try to bring manufacturing back to the country. Senator Rubio has been thoughtful about the child tax credit, and he seems sincere on paid family leave. So I have strong disagreements with him, but in my interactions with Senator Rubio, he's pretty straightforward, and I've had a working relationship with him.
All right, we'll take sincere interest in bipartisanship anytime on this show. Congressman Khanna, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Garrett.